What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm CJ. This is Out of Bounds. In today's video, we're going to do another NBA PrizePicks board breakdown for January 19th, and it's almost 1 p.m. here on the East Coast. If you haven't joined the channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, like the video, and share it with everyone you can. We're slowly but surely growing the channel. We're almost at 200 subscribers. So I'd really like to get to that 200 subscriber mark by the end of the month. So by February 1st, 200 subs would be amazing. In today's video, though, we've only got 2 games to talk about on the slate. There's just 2 games. So this one should be short but sweet. And I'm going to try and talk about as many of these players in these 2 games as possible without making the video too long. So let's get started. Let's talk about the injury news real quick. Not much to discuss here. Al Horford, he's going to be out on Tuesday tonight due to personal reasons. Lonzo Ball, he's probable now with, I guess, sore knees. He's having knee issues. And then Michael Porter Jr., he's considered out for COVID protocol reasons. Then you got Joe Ingles and Ty Jerome, questionable and out. So that's it for news. Super short and sweet. And then today we're going to be using both Roto Grinders projections and Rise or Fall. You can find them at teamriseorfall.com. If you're interested in joining Team Rise or Fall, well, description will have a link where you can join them and check them out, man. They have everything from cheat sheets to projections to coaching in their Discord channel. So a little bit of everything for you over on teamriseorfall.com. But without further ado, let's start jumping into some of these names and figuring out who we want to take the over and who do we want to take the under on. SGA, big name on today's slate. He is projected at 40 points. If we take a look at the various sites here, starting with Roto Grinders, they like him at 40 as well. So he's pretty much on the money as far as his projection goes. If we look over at teamriseorfall.com, Rise or Fall has him at 37.69. And of course, we're using FanDuel projections because FanDuel scoring system is the same as PrizePicks. So they like the under on SGA there. Let's open his game logs real quick and take a look at what he's been up to lately. His last game was a big one against Chicago, 56 points. But then you have a dud here, 18.9, played less than 30 minutes. 31, 55, 47, 53. So he had a string of really strong games going, had a couple of letdowns, and then bounced back against Chicago in his last one on January 15th. He's facing the Denver Nuggets tonight. I don't see a previous game log for SGA versus the Nuggets, so this is going to be a first for him. He's projected to play 36 minutes tonight. If we look across the board here, he's a combo guard. Combo guards against Denver, not a matchup that we're shying away from. This doesn't look like a difficult one for SGA. And then he's projected to, or he's been putting up rather, 1.14 fantasy points per minute. Now, if we look at the game totals on this, Denver is almost a 10-point favorite here. They're projected to score 115.25 points according to Vegas. And Vegas has OKC scoring 105.75. So there's definite blowout potential here. Guys, if you're going to take the over on anyone from this game, especially the stars, I like taking the stars first half only overs. I don't know if I would take a full game over on any of these guys due to the spread here being almost 10 points. I don't feel very comfortable about that. So first half and overs look pretty good for the guys that are going to have high usage, for the guys that are heavily involved for their respective teams, SGA and so on and so forth. So that's the way I'm feeling about this one. Let's move on to the next guy, though. The other side of the ball, we've got Nikola, the Joker, Jokic. He's, of course, facing OKC. That game tips off at 9:10 p.m. So let's take a look at his projections on Roto Grinders. They've got Joker at 55.51, so that would be enough to put him over his projection of 53.5 tonight. And then over on Rise or Fall, they've got him at 55.44. So both sites like Joker to go over 55. But again, guys, the blowout is something that you definitely have to be mindful of here. This is a big spread, one that I would put a red zone. I'd put the red warning on this one and tell you that proceed with extreme caution here. But if we look at the last 3 games here for Joker, he has just been absolutely crushing. 68.3, 60.8, a 72.1. And then he had a couple of down games, but then he bounces back 60, 70. So you can see, guys, he has just been on a tear lately. If you throw out these 2 games here, he's been putting up 60+ fantasy points per night. And we know that he can get it done in limited minutes, but the last time that he played 30 minutes, 29 minutes, he did not get it done. 45.5 and 39.8. So that just goes to show you that, yes, he is a fantasy point per minute monster. He's a beast. We know that about Joker. But he's going to have to play the minutes to get there for you. I mean, these games where he's put up 60 or more, 36 minutes, 41 minutes. Here's 34 minutes, 35 minutes, 39 minutes. So do you guys think he's going to play that many minutes in a game that's projected to be a 10-point spread, a big blowout? I don't know. I would stick to playing the first half, as I mentioned with SGA, but he's projected to play 35 minutes. He's a versatile big, and versatile bigs versus OKC typically eat. This isn't a very difficult matchup whatsoever for Joker. This is actually a plus matchup for him, so that's good news. And then he puts up a big 1.61 fantasy points per minute, one of the best in the league on a fantasy points per minute basis. So there you have it for Joker. I like the first half over. As far as full game goes, I just don't know, man. I just don't know that you can take the over on the 53.5 in a full game format. So you may want to avoid that. Let's talk another guy here from this game, the Denver Nuggets side of things. Jamal Murray, his projections have been boosted a little bit. He was down at like the 32, 33 projected points range. Now he's at 34.5. Let's take a look and see where they like him across the industry tonight. Filter out all positions. They got him at 32.78. Let's just round that up to 33. We'll call it 33 for Jamal Murray on Roto Grinders. And we got him at 32.21 over on Rise or Fall. Opening up the game logs for Jamal Murray. His last game, he had 45, so very, very impressive finish there for him. 39.8 in the one before that, so those are two overs based on tonight's projection. Then you got a string of really crappy games here, 26, 13.5, 22.2, and he was playing limited minutes here, 28, 29 in a couple of these games, but this is another situation where, he's going to have to get it done for you in the first half, or if you're going to take the full game on this guy, he's going to have to play at least 3/4 worth of minutes. I don't see this guy playing into the fourth quarter if they're up by 10 or more points. I just don't see it happening. But he's projected for 35 minutes tonight. He's a combo guard, and combo guards have had a difficult time against the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC ranks 5th against combo guards. This is 2 games in 3 nights for Mr. Murray, and he puts up a 0.89 fantasy points per minute. Let's see if there's anybody else worth talking about on the other side of this ball, or on the other side of this game here from the OKC side. I mean, guys, we've got some ugly, matchup or ugly players to talk about here. We got Dort, we've got George Hill, we've got Kenrich Williams. I mean, it's not sexy, but, for 2-game slate, you're going to have guys like this. Let's talk George Hill real quick. He's the first time, we're going to be discussing him. He's projected for 23.38 on Roto Grinders. And let's go down the line here, and Rise or Fall, they have him at 22.32. So you got 22.32 and a 23. So he's in the 22 to 23 point range. Let's see if maybe there's an edge that we can find here that makes us lean over or under on this guy. 14.9 fantasy points in his last one. Then 21.4, 23.5, 23.5. Got a 12.9, 27.6. George Hill's a veteran. He's been in the league a long time. If this game blows out, he's not going to be one of those guys that they're going to run, late into the fourth quarter. So if you're, looking at some of these backups, some of these role player type guys that are on the board today on PrizePicks, well, if you're targeting any of them to go over, I would target the guys that are younger, the guys that aren't veterans. They're going to more than likely play the young guys over these older guys like George Hill. So you got to be careful with a guy like Hill. I just would probably, I'd probably avoid it if you can. I just don't see a lot here that I love. Projected to play 26 minutes. He's a distributor. Distributors against Denver. Denver ranks 29th, so almost last in the league against distributor point guards. 2 games and 3 nights, and he averages 0.82 fantasy points per minute. So for a role player, a backup guy, 0.82, I mean, that's not terrible. That's not a terrible fantasy point per minute average for George Hill, but they seem to be right on the money, the other 2 sites that we referenced, Roto Grinders and Rise or Fall, with PrizePicks on this 23. So I don't feel like there's enough of an edge there for us to really go one way or the other. But let's move along here. We've got Zion Williamson, big name, one of the biggest names on the board tonight. He's projected at 38. I think the last time we saw Zion on the board, he was up there like 40. I think they put him up at 40. Well, he's back down again to 38. So let's see why that is. He's playing Utah tonight. If we look at power forward on Roto Grinders, Zion Williamson projected to score 37.64 points. 37.64. And then if we look at him over on Team Rise or Fall, they've got him at 34. So they're kind of split. They're kind of torn here. One has him over 37. One has him down at 34. So one site likes the over. One site likes the under. So kind of a tricky situation with Zion when we look at the various sites. Let's open his game logs real quick. His last game, he put up 39.2. One before that was a 40.4. If we go back to 3 games ago, he missed that one against the Clippers, but then previous 37.1, 44.7, 42. So if you look at his last 5 games that he's played, he's put up 37 or more points in 5 straight games. Now his projection tonight is 38. So if we throw out this 37 here, 4 out of the last 5 games that he's played, he's went over 38. Over 38. We don't have a previous game log here of Zion versus Utah, but he's projected to play 34 minutes tonight. He's a versatile forward. Versatile forwards against Utah, not a very nice matchup here. 13th. Utah ranks 13th against versatile forwards, and Zion's putting up a respectable 1.14 fantasy points per minute. Now, looking at the game totals and spread here, Utah 112.25 is their total. New Orleans 105.75. So they've got him at like a 6 to 7 point spread here, which, in a 2-game slate, it's not so scary, I guess, as far as like the blowout. You could take Zion and go over maybe in the first half on him. Treat him like you would the other stars that we've already mentioned, like Jokic and SGA. But I don't know that this is a complete fade as far as going full game. I would consider playing a couple of guys here in a full game format, but Zion's going to be a tricky one to figure out. If I'm going any way on Zion, it's probably going to be, probably the slight over. The over. I mean, he's done it, right? In his last few games, he's went over quite a few times. So that's how I would probably approach Zion in full game formats, going over the 38. Rudy Gobert, he's also projected for 38, facing off against New Orleans tonight. Game tips off at 9:10 p.m. Let's take a look at Gobert and see how they like him on Roto Grinders. They got him projected for 39.56, so quite a big over on Rudy Gobert. And if we look at him on teamriserfall.com, they've got him at 36.19. So one of the sites likes him to go under. One of the sites likes him to go over by a bit. Let's open up his game logs. 37 in his last one. 43 the game before that. 20 against Cleveland. So big poo-poo game there. And the one before that, 36.3, 38.8. So you kind of get an idea of what Rudy Gobert's been up to in his last few games here. Anywhere from a 20-point floor to a 43, 45-point ceiling. He's not going to put up 50 or more for you typically on any night, but he's projected to play 33 minutes tonight. He is a post-up big. Of course, we've talked about it before. Gobert's more of a rebound guy, more of a pick-and-roll guy. He'll get those little putbacks. They're not really like feeding him. They're not running the offense through him and having him post up back to the basket. So don't expect major real-life points from Gobert. He gets his from rebounds and blocks and all those other little fun things. But he's putting up 1.25 fantasy points per minute. This is 2 games in 3 nights for Gobert. So there you have it. Brandon Ingram, another guy that we need to talk about. He was previously projected at like 41 for most of the season. He's been in that 41-point fantasy point range. Tonight he's at 38.5, which is a little depressed from where he has been earlier in the season. Let's take a look at the two sites here and see where they like Ingram. Well, they got him at 38.98. That's close enough for me to call it 39. So 39 for Brandon Ingram. And if we look at the teamriserfall.com, Brandon Ingram is projected way up at 38.73. So they like him at 38.73. We could call that 39 too. I'm comfortable with that. So both sites, let's call it 39. I mean, they're right here on the money, guys. 38.5 is a very solid projection. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of wiggle room over or under here on Ingram. But let's look at his game logs. 28.1, 36.1, 35.7. So in his last 3 games, he's kind of been struggling, right? I mean, I told you they had him up at 41 on PrizePicks for most of the season, but his last 3 has probably led to his projection starting to take a dip. A little bit of a dive there for Ingram. 40.6, 41.2, 55.8. So, I mean, you could see here the stretch before the 3 games that he's had recently, he was doing really, really well going over tonight's projection, but this isn't an easy matchup for him. Let's take a look here across the board. We know Utah's a pretty tough defensive team. He's projected to play 35 minutes. He is a scoring wing. Now, against scoring wings, Utah ranks just 23rd in the league against scoring wings. 2 games in 3 nights and 1.16 fantasy points per minute. So if you think this game stays close and that Ingram really gets the 35 minutes that he's projected to get, well, maybe he returns back to that 40-plus point type of game tonight if you're taking him in full game format. But it's going to be hard for me to feel real comfortable about taking any of these guys from any of these games in a full game format. I still think the way to go is probably just playing first half. Maybe if the game stays close, or maybe if it's a blowout or something like that, maybe they post some second half guys that we can take unders on some of these stars. Like if the game starts to blow out and we think, okay, these stars aren't going to play in the fourth quarter or aren't going to play a full run of minutes in the fourth quarter, let's take the under on guys like Jokic, or take the under on guys like SGA, take the under on a Zion Williamson if the game looks like a blowout and they post second half projections up there. Let's talk another guy though, Donovan Mitchell, Utah Jazz swingman. 38 is his projection tonight. Let's see how they like him across the 2 sites that we're referencing today. They got him at 37.52 on Roto Grinders and 37.49 on Rise or Fall. So they're pretty much in agreement, in alignment here on Donovan Mitchell at that 37-ish point projection. His last game, 37.1. One before that, 41.6, 35.6, 33.9, 50.5. So you can kind of get an idea. He's been in that mid-30 range for most of the season here. Has had some bright spots, 41, 50. Going all the way back here to 42.9 back at the end of December. So not having a monster season by any means, but pretty solid in that 30 to 35 point range most nights. Now tonight he's projected to play 35 minutes. He is a combo guard. Combo guards, not a big worry here as far as matchup goes. Combo guards against New Orleans. New Orleans ranks just 20th against combo guards, so I'm not really worried about fading him due to matchup issues. And then 1.06 fantasy points per minute for Donovan Mitchell. Very good there. So there you have it on Mitchell. Another guy that I'd probably consider just taking first half type of plays on. I don't know that I'd go full game. Like I said, guys, this seems like a slate where the first half is just going to be the way to go. Mike Conley, though. A lot of guys have been mentioning Mike Conley in the Discord. By the way, if you're not a part of the Discord community yet, don't wait any longer. Get down into the description of this video, find the Discord link, click it, and join the Discord. That's where all the PrizePicks chat goes down. I mean, we got people winning like hundreds and hundreds of dollars in there. We got people winning even thousands of dollars in there. It's going crazy, guys. It's going crazy. I'm really happy to see that, you know, these videos and the Discord channel is leading to some big paydays for you guys. So Mike Conley, though, projected for 31 tonight. He's somebody that you guys have been clicking his name on, and I think taking the overs on Mike Conley. Well, tonight looks like maybe another opportunity to take the over on Conley. They got him at 32.59 over on Roto Grinders. If we look at Rise or Fall, Mike Conley's projected at 29.81, so a little bit of a contrast on Conley on rise or fall. So they got him at 29 on rise or fall, 32 over on Roto Grinders. Let's look at his game logs though. 31.6, 41.8, 31.7, 42, 33. So tonight's projection of 31 kind of seems a bit light. He's went over 31 in his last 5 games. He's on a bit of a hot streak. 31 may not be high enough for Mike Conley. Now, let's look and see how many minutes he's projected to play. 31 tonight. He's a pass-first point guard and just 28th. New Orleans Pelicans rank just 28th in the league against distributor point guards, and then he puts up a very respectable 1.09 fantasy points per minute. In fact, he's the only point guard on the board scoring 1 or more fantasy point per minute. So you got to love to see that with Mike Conley. I like the over, if you're playing full game, I like the over on Mike Conley in that 31. Other side of the ball, we'll talk Steven Adams real quick. He'll probably be the last New Orleans Pelican guy that we discuss here. He's projected at 28 points. Let's take a look and see how they like him on Roto Grinders. They got Steven Adams at 29.07, so that would be a slight over, a little bit over 1 point there. And then if we go over to teamriserfall.com, Steven Adams is projected at 28.14, so they kind of seem like they're more in agreement with PrizePicks in their projection. Let's open up his game logs and see what he's been up to. His last one was a good one, 34 points. Here you have 13.9, and then he's back up to 28.7, 29.4, 39.2. So you can see, guys, that if you're playing him in a full game format, that he's got the ability to go 28 or more. I mean, he's done so in 4 out of his last 5 games. So not a bad way to go to take the over on Adams in full game. 31 minutes. He is a post-up big man. Post-up bigs, they rank just 16th does Utah against post-up bigs. Again, similar to Rudy Gobert, Steven Adams isn't going to necessarily be like a post-up big. You think post-up big, you think like Shaq, you think, Patrick Ewing, somebody who's going to like really post up and really go to work and pound the rock and play around the hoop and stuff. This ain't Steven Adams. This ain't Rudy Gobert. These guys rebound. They get offensive putbacks off of rebounds. You know, they might get involved in a little pick and roll. They might just throw a little hook shot up here and there, but they're not big-time real-life point scorers. They get their points rebounding, assists, steals, blocks, that kind of thing. Anyway, 0.93 fantasy points per minute for Steven Adams. So there you have it for him. I think we'll talk one more Utah Jazz player. We'll go with the higher projected one out of Clarkson and Bogdanovich. We'll talk Jordan Clarkson. He's projected for 27. This will be the last guy we discuss in this video, as it's really like, ugly. I mean, these are guys that we've never talked about, a lot of these guys in the video. So welcome Jordan Clarkson to Out of Bounds. Anyway, he's projected for 24.86, which would put him under his projection on PrizePicks tonight by quite a bit. But we'll call that 25 just to make things interesting. And then over on Rise or Fall, they've got him projected at 26.27. So 25, 26 seems to be right around where Jordan Clarkson should be projected tonight. Looking at his game logs, 36.1 in his last one versus Denver, 28.4, 38.6, then a 20.8, and then a 38 here. So there you have it for Clarkson. He's been playing pretty well. I mean, upper 20s and into the 30s in most of these games. It kind of makes this 27 look a little too light for him. I think, 27 points. He's went over that 5 times in his last 6 games. So pretty good chance he can go over 27 if you're playing him in the full game format. He's projected to play 24 minutes tonight. He is a scoring wingman. Scoring wings versus the New Orleans Pelicans. They ranked second in the league against scoring wings. This is 2 games and 3 nights for Clarkson, and he puts up a very, very healthy 1.11 fantasy points per minute. So you love to see that for Jordan Clarkson. So I'd probably lean toward the over on Clarkson if you're playing in a full game format. But That's going to do it for today's video. Very short one compared to most. Not a lot of guys to talk about, just a 2-game slate. A lot of little names in there that we normally don't talk about. A lot of role players up on the PrizePicks board tonight. So feel free to take the first half on a lot of these guys. That's how I'm looking at the names that are on the board, is just taking first half and trying to go over, like on the stars, the guys with high usage who usually put up big time fantasy points. I don't mind taking the over in first half formats on that. But you guys let me know what you think. Drop down in the comments section. Who's your favorite play tonight? Are you taking them over, under? Are you taking them in a full game format or just a first half format? Or you wait until later on in the evening and maybe sneaking in some sneaky good second half plays? I'd love to hear what you're doing tonight and what your strategy is over on PrizePicks. But that'll do it for me. This is CJ for Out of Bounds. Definitely subscribe if you haven't yet. Notifications, liking and sharing and commenting, it all helps the channel grow, and I'm excited to grow with you. Till next time, guys, peace out. You guys have good luck tonight and win some.